So how would you personally sum up your first season at the Tigers?
First season, a lot of learnings.
Hello and welcome to Win, Learn or Draw.
The Tigers don't lose.
The win or they learn.
The Tigers!
We're in a crocodile roll for our life.
Win and learn from it.
What better person to learn from?
Oh, what are they teaching this place?
Let's go!
We are the Tigers, the mighty Tigers, and we are mental and we are mad. We are the loyalist Tiger supporters that the league has ever had. Tried to get that going the other day and no one joined in. So tried to get it going again and no one joined in. So guess I'm just used to it. Welcome to Win, Learn or Draw, a West Tigers podcast, because the Tigers never lose. We either win or we learn. Very occasionally we draw. Not since 2001 when we drew 16-all with the Sharks. This week was a nice comfortable win against the old foe, the Gold Coast Titans, in the Will Smith Shield, cruising to a 36-28 victory right after the Socceroos taught Turkey A 2-0 in Vancouver. Now, as you may know, our co-host Hammy Goodman is in North America at the moment, applying the lessons he's learned as a Tigers fans to the Socceroos. So we've had to pull in two West Tigers content legends, two, to make up for Hammy Goodman. So firstly, here with me on my left is Mr. Jarrod Reedie from the West Tigers Faithful podcast. Welcome, Reedie.
Hello, mate. Good to be here and in a wonderful rugby league content house.
Yes.
It's good to be here.
It is. And on my right, none other than a man making appearance number 2 on the Win, Learn or Draw podcast. He hasn't been here since episode 3. It's Kody Totes.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I feel like I've become kind of the unofficial Jock Madden of the podcast. Today I'm on the actual bench as well as the proverbial bench, but it's nice to be here.
That's true. Even when we did the live stream on Hello Sport, Hammy had to duck off to do Matty Johns.
Off the bench.
Mr. Versatile, straight off the bench, straight
Just plug
in there
me
for
in
the last
there.
20 minutes. Reedie, firstly, tell us a little bit about, I guess, your upbringing as a Tigers fan in the beautiful Southwest Sydney and West Tigers faithful, how that all came about.
Yeah, I can do that as best as I can. So my father went through multiple different franchises, including, unfortunately, the eastern suburbs, until the Magpies came to Campbelltown, and he sort of drew a stake in the ground. He was Southwest born and bred. They didn't have a team. He went local side, that's me. They obviously played out of Arana Park every second week, and that was where his love for the club began. I was born in 98, so I wasn't actually sentient when the Magpies were running around. But a couple of my relos, my cousin and my uncle played for the Maggies in the lower grades, so I'd like to think it's in my blood. I was 7 when 05 happened. I do tend to remember it pretty well, but probably because it's my special interest, I suppose you'd call it.
Yep.
But I played in Group 6 for the Thelmia Roosters, which was Heath Mason's junior club.
Yep.
And Liam Sutton, who's actually debuted at the Cowboys as well.
Yeah.
So we're actually getting a few through first grade now, which is pretty cool. But mate, a lot of very fond memories and some tough lessons learnt as well through my time as a Tigers fan. But I've always followed them around. It's West Tigers for me, always has been.
Yep.
And sort of got into the podcast for a few years ago on Levels Network. I was there for a couple of months as DJ Tiger Town, I think I was coined. and then after another 12 months in the wilderness, I started West Tigers Faithful with my good friend and co-host Joe McCord.
Yeah, and how do you know Joe?
Through internet forums and chat rooms, realistically.
Hell yeah.
His
That's so good.
his username rather is MacDougall on the West Tigers forum.
Okay.
His claim to fame on that website is that he started the signing rumours and suggestions thread, which now has, I think, 18,000 pages and over 2 million views. And I said it to you before we came on the air with the Tigers. There's so many Tigers podcasts because we've been so crap for so long. Everybody has an opinion on how to fix it. So obviously every Joe Blow going on there and giving their rumours or suggestions has meant that this page has just bloated to the point of which it is today. So that's how we know each other. We ended up in a Discord server together many moons ago with a pack of other degenerates in a server we call the Pit of Despair. Mm-hmm. And
that sounds great.
And after sort of, you know, getting to know one another and sort of getting a feel for what we were both about, it was pretty clear that we had some similar opinions and both felt pretty strongly on pathways and lower grades and figured, well, let's take this public. And 75 episodes later, here we are.
75. It's a good crack. You enjoying it? Loving it?
Yeah, it's been good. We're at 2 episodes a week now, which probably keeps us on our toes, but it's better that way, I think, in terms of splitting that content, sort of 45-minute episodes here and there, which has been fun. And as we know, as West Tigers fans, there's never a dull day. So
Never a dull day.
Always lots to speak on.
Kody, what's been happening? Obviously, Tigers form a small part of your otherwise amazing Hello Sport life, but tell us what's been going on.
Mate, things are good. Hanging out at Hello Sport still. Off a good win on the weekend. Bathing in the Socceroos glory as well.
Yeah, you're
which
a
was awesome.
big soccer guy. Aren't you?
Yeah.
How good was that?
Yeah. Oh, mate. Like, elated.
Yeah.
Absolutely elated.
How amazing is it to see Nestory doing this now on the biggest stage?
Oh, dude. Like, I said it on Hello Sport yesterday, but I've been following Nestory pretty closely for a few years now. So to see him do what he did on Sunday was just incredible. And he's announced himself to the world now. Like,
I signed him on
Nestory.
EAFC 25, I reckon, for Ipswich Town FC. So I've had my eye on him for a while.
Yeah.
In fact, he comes up a little bit later. Someone suggesting Shannon Gallant maybe get in touch and get him on a training trial at the West Tigers.
Do we know what his potential is on FIFA? Where does it sit? Is it up around 87 or so?
It'd have to be.
Yeah.
He has so much speed. Well, a lot of glorious finish too. Connor Metcalf as well. Like,
Yeah.
it's just good stuff.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff. Hey, boys, we're going to jump into One World Courier Delivery of the Week. Now, are you guys familiar with One World Courier?
I am, yeah.
The sternum sponsor, pardon me, of the West Tigers. They do fantastic stuff. They're the booking.com of the freight world, is the way that they would put it. And I would tend to agree.
OWC.yeah.
Nice. They can use that. This week, it's going to none other than the Seybarge. Got his own post yesterday from the West Tigers official Instagram account, referred to as the Seybarge in that said post as well. So, backfence Brown, that's all you're doing. 12 runs for 99 metres, 3 tackle breaks, 54 tackles, but most importantly, no errors and only on report once. So that's pretty good for the Seybarge. I think from a, pardon me, my voice is obviously absolutely buggered from Sunday. The try for me was the delivery of the week. So if you re-look at the kind of the footage, you can see the big Seybarge. He's got his hands on his hips. He looks like he's not going to take part in the play, and then he's playing possum a little bit. Ball goes to Jock Madden, runs an expert inside line, runs off him, hits Oliver Pascoe, does one of the greatest hit and spins you'll ever see.
Doesn't it just hit him? He murdered him.
Yeah, pancaked him. Absolutely drilled him, and then ran straight through Keno Kinney, crashed over, and then launched a bomb into the stands that Matt Burton would have been proud of. So our delivery of the week goes to Alex Seyfarth for one of the great tries, and levelled the score too, a really important play at a really important time. And the team really got round him. So you would have heard Benji afterwards as well talking about him, just saying how much of an important cog he is. So, boys, if you're happy with that, please let me know.
Absolutely. I just think that it's probably not the Seybarge this week. I think it's the Sea Jet.
Yeah.
I thought he was phenomenal. I do wonder, obviously there's been a few rumours about him being shopped around. Do you think that in the back of his mind he was thinking this could be my last at the 8th?
Possibly. Contract year as well. Maybe he's just levelled up a little bit. I thought he was phenomenal on Sunday.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, absolutely one of the best games I've seen him play. And it's almost frustrating when you see him play like this, because it's like, I feel like you can see this player inside, Alex, and then it just can't, it's so fleeting at times, you know, but it was awesome to see. I can imagine that probably would have been going on for a few players, being like last game at the 8th on Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be interested to hear what you think, Reedie, about, Seyfarth's contract generally, but yeah, if he can just string a bit of form together a bit more consistently, I'd be happy to sort of keep him around.
Absolutely, mate. We're about to have 2 more teams enter the league, and without this becoming an expansion chat, the spread of talent gets thinner, right? And finding forwards, let alone middle forwards, is incredibly difficult to do in this league. We've done the hard yards with him. We've put 100 games worth of development into him. It would be remiss of us to now allow him to head for the exits when we've done all the difficult development years. We've nursed him through all the sin bins, all the fines, all the penalties, all the 6 agains, all the dive bombs at Alex Twal's legs. I would prefer for him to remain there. And look, he can be wayward at the best of times, but you know what you're going to get from him from an effort perspective. And I think that, him being a Balmain junior is a point of difference in this side, and he brings a level of passion that is different to the other guys that you see around the group. So I don't want to lose him. I'll be curious to see how that sort of situation plays out, particularly after the way he played on the weekend.
Yeah, I suppose as well, maybe I'm like being a little bit harsh on him because he also, due to like our lack of depth just generally, gets thrown into situations and he's had this back row experiment going on for a while. It's like if he can just settle into his role of being like an impact bench, like that is a guy that I would love to have around.
We were those first few weeks where he was coming off the pine with 20 to go, we were calling him the finisher.
Yeah, they were. They were releasing him for the last 20 minutes, weren't they?
That's right.
Just had him muzzled for 60 minutes and then just ripped him out.
That's right. The finisher.
The finisher. Well, there you go. One World Courier Delivery of the Week goes to the Seybarge this week. Congratulations, mate. I'm sure you'll be thrilled with that. 6 again. So we go into 6 tackles and we kind of cover off some really important topics. And tackle 1 for this week, as it normally is, will be the game recap. So 36-28, that is just our second win without Api Coruscant since he's been here since 2023, which is pretty crazy. But some of the highlights, I guess, well, one of the highlights was the 90% completion rate. But one of the lowlights, and we see it happening, I feel like we fixed it at the start of the year, but somehow it's gone away. But the capitulation zone, we're calling it, from 30 minutes to 50 minutes, 10 minutes either side of half time. We let in 24 points within a 12-minute period.
It's fascinating in the sense of at the beginning of the year, that was our calling card. That's where we'd score our points.
Yeah.
And, we'd come out after halftime, we'd blow teams away. But I think that as, we've almost regressed to the mean from a conditioning perspective and other teams have sort of improved, that sort of gap has lessened. It is worth mentioning as well that obviously a lack of cohesion in the middle was probably the reason why Keanu Kinney ran riot. Take nothing away from him. What a player. Like, he's worth every cent of the Gold Coast. He is going to be a star. He probably already is, to be fair. But obviously, Latu and Sione defending next to each other is probably something they're a little more unfamiliar with. But if anything, that sort of period around, sort of minute 30 to minute 50, it speaks volumes of the debutant Jesse Lanyon, that he held the middle together there for the majority of the time that he was on the field. When he was off it, we were leaking like a sieve. So there's no bigger compliment to pay than the fact that he was so important to us on the weekend through the middle defensively.
Yeah, so it's interesting you bring up those two names in Lanyon and Fino, and we'll touch on them a little bit later with the team makeup because it's a bit of a dilemma on what to do there now after the way Lanyon played. I think he looked absolutely fantastic and so solid, and as Benji said, every bit of first grader. But yeah, we'll kind of chat about that a little bit later. Kody, were you out at the game or did you watch on telly?
Matt, I wasn't at the game. I was at the pub, so I just rolled straight in from the Socceroos to the Tigers. I went into this game, emotionally repressed, walls up, almost like, as you mentioned, Appy doesn't play, generally doesn't bode well for us. And I just came in with a bit of a bleak kind of view on the game. But it was, a tough watch, but the boys got it done. They got it done.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think we all sat there as like Tigers fans, $1.40 last game. Like, how many those times where we have to win at Leichhardt, or like the Tommy Radonicus game, or the games where we could have made the 8 and they were at Leichhardt and we just have so many demons that we're battling.
That try after half time to the Gold Coast, you're thinking to yourself, oh, I've been here before. And the crowd was so quiet.
Mate, it was a library there at points.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely silent. I couldn't believe it because I know like a lot of people texting and messaging going like, it looks nuts on TV. And like, yeah, when we're winning, but we're just so, and I remember this from Campbelltown earlier in the year against the Knights. We are so scarred from our history as Tigers fans that we never feel comfortable, right?
No, never.
And so everyone just sits there with this tension about them rather than cheering and chanting and trying to get the boys back on their feet. And again, he'll get his own tackle later, but Jarrod Reedie was honestly carrying 17,500 people on his back on Sunday. It was pretty impressive to see. But yeah, we got the job done, 36-28, far from comfortable, but it rockets us up into 10th from 10th. And a loss would have us at 10th as well. So it doesn't feel good to win and not move up, but we're only 2 wins away from the Warriors and 1 win away from 3rd.
Yes.
So it's very congested in that middle there. I think there's a clear peloton top 10, and then the bottom, your crap teams like Storm, Broncos, those kind of ones, kind of falling away. But yeah, very, very good win in the end. Tackle 2, we'll move on to Leichhardt Oval. So neither of you guys were out there. You didn't get there this year at all, did you, Kody? Because we were watching the Raiders game live stream. Did you go to the Cowboys game?
No, I didn't. Yeah, no, I haven't. I haven't. Yeah, we were obviously working for the last one. We were supposed to be live streaming the Socceroos on Sunday as well, which is why I didn't have tickets. Got canned late.
Gotcha.
That's my excuse, everyone. That's my excuse. That's why I wasn't there.
That's better than mine.
Yeah. What were you up to?
Well, I looked at the draw at the beginning of the year, as we all do, and you go, okay, I'm going to earmark myself for this game, this game, this game, this game. And this week coming up, in my opinion, the best time slot as a spectator, 3 o'clock on a Saturday at Campbelltown. And I figured, okay, this is perfect. I didn't clock it until it was far too late that was our last game of the 8th for 18 months. So mine was just a complete mishap on my part. Like, you had work. That's way more forgivable, I think.
Yeah, was it? I think because I rolled in a little bit late because I'd just been watching the Socceroos at the Royal on Norton Street. And the kind of air in there was a bit stuffy at the start because I think everyone was just, like I said, a little bit nervous. And I think where we were sat, I was telling Reedie, I watched about 15% of the game because I couldn't see a thing. And he asked if I was vertically challenged. And I was like, no, an imposing 6 feet tall, but I couldn't see much of the game for a long time there. But then it really, really picked up towards the end, like as it does in Leichhardt. When you get down to the crunch time, it was amazing to see. And a lot of people got on the field, people were up on the scoreboard, and afterwards, the Orange Grove, Leichhardt Bolo, down Norton Street was all just absolutely chock-a-block. It'll be really missed, but it is only 18 months. But is there a world where it's longer than that? I know you said they were already going over budget.
Yeah, I think, like all great government projects, I think it'll be over time and over budget. So we'll see. But I don't hold too much hope. We'll have to see. But yes, that is my mail. They're already over budget and they haven't turned any soil over yet.
Amazing. Great to hear. Leichhardt Oval will remain open till September, and there will be a concert happening there called One Last Roar. So make sure you get down to that. I don't know who's playing. Maybe Lockie Pringle and the Buffalo Paradise or something, but we will definitely be down there no matter who's playing. Just before we wrap up Leichhardt, I've asked you boys what your favourite Leichhardt memory is. I'll kick off with a very brief one. I think mine was, it might have even been one of the first times I went there. I was a bit, because I grew up in down the coast and in Canberra. I wasn't a Leichhardt regular, and I went and watched the Panthers play us, and they were ravaged by Origin. It was a genuine B-side. And we
in 21?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we beat them like 26-4 or something, and there was hardly anyone there. There was about 8,000 people in all of Leichhardt. And I remember going there with my mate who was a Penrith fan, and now he listens to this podcast every week now. Now he's a Tigers fan, basically. He poses as a Penrith fan because they're highly successful, and being a Tigers fan is really hard work. But from that moment, it was like, wow, if you can convert this diehard Penrith fan to be such a Tigers fan from being in this, it's been better every time I've been there since. But I just remember that moment being like, wow, this really captures what it means to be a Tigers fan, because people care so dearly about this team and this oval. There was a clip put together the other day by the players, and they all just said it. You can't explain what it means to play here. Like you're carrying an entire kind of community on your back when you play. So yeah, that was my favourite. Reedie, yours? I know you're Southwest and Campbelltown aligned, but
I always try and get out there as best as I can.
Yep.
I was there when you boys were doing your live stream against the Raiders, which was a fond memory for me because my fiance has been trying to see a Tigers win in person for about the 5 years that we've been together. That was the first time she's been to one, and we were Campbelltown members there for a very long time.
Yeah.
Best Leichhardt moment, obviously Jarrod Reedie scored a hat-trick on the weekend. The last time a half scored a hat-trick was Benji Marshall in 2010 against the Melbourne Storm. I just in terms of 2010 away from 05 was peak Tigers, I think. I think that was the one that got away for us a little bit. And some of the tries that he scored that day were just phenomenal. That first one where he touches the ball about 4 times in the same play was phenomenal.
Yep.
And then the hat-trick where Robbie sort of pulls it out of his breadbasket off a kick off either Smith or Cronk and then throws it to Benji and away he goes. And just the feeling and that crowd heaving as, they're willing his way to the try line. Yeah, that's probably the fondest I've got.
Yeah, nice. The Messiah scoring a hattie. Rate it. Kody, yours? in the last, 20 years?
Yeah, my favourite Leichhardt memory is probably the first time I went out there as well, 2012 round 1.
Ooh.
So just off the tail end of our golden era coming into
That
a season where...
Teddy's debut?
Yes,
Teddy's
that's when-
debut.
yeah,
Went down with an ACL. Benji kicks a field goal to win 13-12, I believe. It was so packed. My dad and I sat on the stairs next to the toilet because there was just like... I would have been 11.
Yeah.
So I couldn't see. We didn't go up on the hill. And we
You
were
guys
just,
are brave sitting there too with the amount of slop that rolls down that
Oh
hill
yeah,
after about the 55th minute.
we might have been one away from the actual cubicle, but we were right down the end and had a great view of Benji slotting that field goal to win. So.
Yeah, it's a ground that means a lot to so many people, and yeah, can't wait to see it back in action in 2028.
I think the way I describe it to people is like people will say, oh, Manly have got Brookie and blah blah blah, but going to Leichhardt is like. It's the whole experience. It's going to the pub at Leichhardt before. It's walking down the streets. Like, it's a true time capsule. Like, you feel like you're in the 80s. Like, it's a really cool... The whole game day experience is... It's a treasure.
It's a rugby league cathedral.
Yeah.
That's right. And once they fix the sound system and the toilets and the FBOS system and the bar and everything like that, it'll be back and raring to go. Tackle 3 deserves his own tackle. I mentioned it just earlier. Player spotlight on Jarrod Reedie. 3 tries, 2 line breaks, 15 runs for 116 metres, 7 tackle breaks, 5 offloads. Captain courageous. Like, that was the best game he's had in a Tigers jersey by an absolute mile, and he responded to the critics. In fact, he told him to shush at one point, I think.
It might have been a little bit more colourful than that, but yeah, it was something along those lines.
I mean, look, 5-6 weeks ago, I said, is there a world where Jarrod Reedie comes off the bench and has a little bit of an impact? I was shot down very quickly by Hammy and most people in the comments, but I don't know if he listened. He did say to us when we met him, give us a shout on the podcast, hey boys, so maybe he does. But he has responded to last week's drubbing sensationally. Yes, it's the Titans. Yes, it was Leichhardt Oval. Yes, last week was the Panthers. They are worlds apart. But watching Luai kind of play like that reminds you why we brought him to the club, right?
Absolutely. And the difference was that he played north-south. And, for a little while, I think Jerome would even say himself, like, he's been a little bit too east-west.
Yep.
And obviously the conversations he had with Marshall through the week in terms of, his output as a player and then his output as a leader, I think it really sharpened his focus. I think that while it's been an up and down year for Jerome, and you could put that down to a couple of different factors, and you can speculate all you want, but I think that his best individual performances as a Tiger and potentially as a footballer in the NRL have come from this year. I thought he was brilliant against Canterbury in terms of the way that he stood up there. Obviously, the last time that he played at Leichhardt against Canberra, I thought he was great. That short pass where he played nice and square to Samuel Fain, who sort of unlocked it. I think he's had some really, really strong moments this year, but as we know, and as he said, it's on to next week, and hopefully this is a bit of a line in the sand of sorts for Jerome, and he can really sort of back himself now and continue to carry those performances in the weeks to come.
Well, we're 3 from 3 at Leichhardt, and he's had a blinder every single time. Every time we win, he tends to have a pretty good game. Kody, your thoughts on Romy and his performance?
Mate, Romy I find is like... He gets a little bit of the same treatment that Latrell gets, I find, because he's such a polarizing figure.
Yeah, much maligned.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And it's obviously the nature of being a half as well. But, and Reedie touched on it as well, I thought his game against the Bulldogs was one of his best games of the season. Obviously, we go out the week after and we get pumped, and then the media is like, oh, well, since, Romy signed for PNG, the Tigers have gone to shit. And it's like... Yes, that is true. Obviously, Tigers fans will know that it's just we've been absolutely ravaged by injuries. But I'll defend Romy till the day I die. I was so happy to see him go out there on Sunday and just absolutely kill it. He's like, you can really almost like Romy's leadership. You can almost, it's just such a, you can just feel it. And I think him being at the Tigers, like I've felt it more than ever. Like it's almost something that's hard to put into words when you watch him play. But yeah, for him to get over for 3 tries in his last game at Leichhardt, I thought that was pretty special.
Yeah, it was. And you mean, like you said, if Jerome plays well, we play well. So we really need him kind of standing up. And a few people have been a bit critical, probably me included, but he goes out and does something like that and you forget all about the criticism.
Yeah, definitely. It's like the criticism-o-meter. It's back in back in the green, I suppose, which means that he's doing quite well.
Yep.
It's been an interesting one for him, and obviously, we've got about $3.5 million cap talent on the sidelines, which I think we're about to get to. A lot of these things are mitigating factors, but great to see him stand up, and I know how much he loves the Eighth Wonder. Well deserved.
And congrats on having your own tackle in the set of 6 too. You'd be happy about that, Romy. Tackle 4, you both mentioned it, injuries/suspensions. So KPP, torn his pec by the look of it, out for the rest of the season. Royce Hunt, same boat, pec season. Dewey looks like he might be back next week or potentially the week after. Twal back round 18 or 20. Sam Finu, 20 to 21. And Makasini, any word on his
It was an AC, which for the most part, depending on the grading, I mean, you saw Stephen Crichton have, I think it was a grade 3 or a grade 4. Matty will know better than I, but that was only 3 or 4 weeks on the sideline and he was back. I think that it was a lesser grade for Hiamasi. So I would expect him to be back, if not this week, the one after. But yeah, I don't think that's too much to worry about. Kai Pearce-Paul, you touched on. The Tigers are notoriously late in regards to their injury updates. I don't think we'll see anything or hear anything until Thursday. They don't know whether or not if it's a partial tear or a rupture.
Okay.
If it's a rupture, then obviously he's done. But I heard that the club's optimistic that it's only a partial.
Okay.
But I'm not exactly sure on that. But he's a huge loss.
Yeah, he's massive. Any mail on Dewey coming back next week? Or
No, I don't think.
I'm reading 17-18, so
Okay.
pretty unlikely for this week.
Yep. Okay. And then Twal, I mean, you mentioned the middle absolutely capitulating on the weekend. And we need him back very, very quickly. Him and Sam Finu, if they both come back in round 20, and we go on a Para Eels 09 kind of end of season run.
I hear Sam might be earlier than first anticipated, but don't quote me on that. And I know that Pete Mooser, our head of performance, is typically a little bit, he errs on the side of caution. But I know that Sam's working very hard to try and get out of there. How good's it been just seeing him on the scooter? Just carting around with Terrell's camera post-game with his, I think it's one of Sione's kids, like his niece just tucked in here like a footy.
Yeah.
Cracks me up.
He's such a character. Reedy, I wanted to ask, how much would you put down to, like, obviously we got carved against the Panthers.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. And then just getting absolutely torn up in the middle by Kinney. How much of an impact, like, does Twal being out have on that sort of stuff?
Oh, mate, he's huge. And you look at what he brings in terms of, they say he's their energy guy, and he really is. He's, he leads the line speed alongside Uppy when they're both on the field. Obviously, they haven't been this week and in weeks prior for Alex. He's always the one to make first contact, and he's typically the guy that makes that sort of third or fourth play carry as well to try and, get a quick play of the ball for for Jock or Jerome or to a lesser extent at the moment, Adam, to sort of get that kick away. We are really hurting with that. And for us to do it this week and win without him, I think is a massive, massive confidence boost for the boys. But he's so important to us in terms of some of the cleanup work he does. And it's not a coincidence that we've been on the end of some pretty ugly score lines in his absence, and then obviously with Uppies as well. So, no, he's very important to us. And I think the stat was, I think it might have been Rando that put it out. I think he's the best defensive player of the NRL era. Like, it speaks for itself. His clean-up work is second to none. So, you're always going to feel that loss. But obviously, it's the whole next man up cliche and everything like that. They've got to deal with it, and they've got to push on. And a guy like Jessesi showed us on Sunday that, we have guys in our wheelhouse that can be that guy in his absence.
The Mariana Trench depth, we've been speaking about it all year. Kind of exposed a little bit, but yeah, it's there somewhere. Just Ceci Lenin, a good exponent of that. Now, Seyfarth and Herbert, are they going to get suspended, or are they taking early pleas? And
3K fines for those boys, which is pretty expensive.
It is. Don't do the wrong thing. You don't have to pay a fine. Taylor May, last 6 games, he came back obviously a bit earlier than anticipated as well. Last 6 games, 6 tries, 4 try assists, 5 line breaks, 26 tackle breaks. He's averaging about 140 metres a game.
NBWT on X. I see you know your judo well, mate.
I follow that guy religiously. He is.
I've been trying to get him out of his bunker for many years.
Do you know him? Have you met him?
No, I haven't. But we exchange pleasantries virtually pretty often. But Taylor with a busted shoulder, it's just insane. Like, do you reckon he'd be playing for the Blues this week?
Ooh, I reckon Mate, just given the sort of the narrative that goes on around Terrell, I'd say probably not.
True.
But that's not to say that he shouldn't be. Like, every time he's pulled on the Tigers jersey, he's been one of our best players. So, yeah. It's I don't think, like, you know, we say he came back a few weeks early. I don't think it would have mattered when he came back. Like, the risk seems like it's there almost regardless. So if he can stay fit, like, we literally need him. And, like, we touched on Massey. When I was at the Panthers game, dude, Massey couldn't lift his arm. He was absolutely shot. I couldn't believe they played him against the Panthers. It felt so unnecessary, but I guess it just sort of speaks to where we're at in terms
When you
of
had the
injuries.
front row seats to the demolition provided by Adam Spaz. Taylor May, he's obviously a lot of pride in wearing that jersey as well. He's saying, like, I was asked by Peter Musso if I wanted to play, and I'm saying yes. I'll play until I'm completely busted. So kind of nice to hear, but also, like, take care of yourself.
All those hill runs in Tregear, bro, as an 8-year-old, they've just created this steely resolve.
Yeah, 100%. Moving on to tackle 5, the team lineup. So with all that considered, we'll fly through this. So Buller, this is the way, and this might be redundant by 4 p.m. today, but Buller, Taruva, May, Toa, Makasini, back 5. Happy with that?
Yeah.
Or you think Herbie goes in there? Or
I thought Patrick was great. It's a
made some good defensive moves. He ran the ball hard.
yeah, against his former club, which I think was a storyline that people probably missed.
Yeah, true. Patrick Herbert Cup.
Yes. Yeah, the Smith Herbert Shield. A pleasant headache for Marshall to have, pending obviously he and Marcy's fitness.
Yeah, for sure. No, I've got Luai Dewey here, but that's probably not going to happen, right? We'll cover that in a second. May, I thought Pole off the bench was a good move.
He was excellent, wasn't he?
What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Start Bunty?
Yeah, I wouldn't meddle with it at the moment. I think it looks good.
Happy at 9. Sione, Tony, and Seybarge at lock. I think he has to start at 13. You got to try to strike while the iron's hot, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you continue that momentum that he created.
Now, I think Lanyon locks up that 14 jersey now, right? Like, there's a bit of Max Plath about him, bit of Connor Watson about him. Just a really solid 9 / and he played a bit of lock.
Yeah.
And he flagged player of the year last year as well.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I spoke about it last night. Like, you could make a case for he's a little bit like Brandon Smith and a little bit like Havili.
Yeah,
he probably does his best work off the pine. You could argue he's probably more of a 13 than a 9, but obviously Marshall had the cojones to back him and start him at 9, and obviously that was the plan all week. But obviously they just kept it under wraps. We obviously lost by 68, so we were never going to win a PR battle last week. So they just kind of went, we'll blood the kid in the quiet. But I agree with you. Yeah, the 14's his to lose.
Yep. So what happens with Latu Finu then, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, Royce has got a pec injury and he's gone for the season, and Latu can do a job in the middle. That is one thing that Benji will do. I do hope for Latu's sake that we see him go down in New South Wales Cup and play halfback.
Why is he not? I thought that was the plan at the start of the year. Get some reps up, playing with big boys and running a team, getting some experience and move him into first grade next year.
He went down there for a week and then Adam did his shoulder. And at that point, they were like, well, we can't risk having another half go down mid-game because obviously the NRL takes precedence sometimes over players' development, and you can make arguments either way, but I completely understand why they did it. I'm just hopeful now that given what we've found in Giuseppe, that they allow Latu to go and play in a position that I think he's probably going to play for 10 years, ideally at this club. Go and play right side half, go and run a team, go and organise, and go and terrorise edge defences in New South Wales Cup.
And then finally, Ethan Roberts, you think he makes the 17-19 in the coming weeks? I know on your potty you guys were saying he's got a couple of clangers in him every now and then, but he's also got moments of brilliance as well.
Mac described him as an adventurous footballer. I think that's a really good way to coin it. He will go searching for work and he will, go from east to west and vice versa. He will throw some crazy offloads and he can ball play a little bit too. I'd have him in there as a point of difference. I'd love to see it, but I'm not too sure what's going on with him. I think he's actually injured at the moment. Okay. He was named to play Penrith. Thankfully, he wasn't in that game because that would have probably scarred him for at least the next few months. But I'm not too sure, mate, where he's at. But I'd certainly have him in the squad if he was fit.
Cody, any?
Yeah,
notes?
hearing he's injured.
Yeah,
I haven't the Tigers, as you mentioned, always seem to be kind of coy about what's going on injury wise. But yeah, I don't have any more info than that. I just heard that he wasn't fit.
Any other changes to the side, or would you keep it?
Mate, the Latu thing's interesting. Like, I obviously, mate, I praise to you and Hammy a lot. Latu's he's my long-term half. So the New South Wales Cup thing is frustrating, and I suppose to echo Reedie's points, like you can understand that the NRL takes precedence. I think like both Romy and Benji both came out at some point publicly this year and was like, he's too good to not be in the team. Yeah, which I don't think would have helped the cause at all. And I don't necessarily think you drop Jock either, but it's like, I just don't think him sitting on the bench and coming on and playing hooker and lock is I mean, it's beneficial for the team, I suppose, because we kind of need him, but like, yeah, I just want to see him playing in the halves. So if he's not starting in the NRL, I'd be having him in Cup for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think we all agree there. And I think Madden's had a couple of little defensive lapses. I think on the ball he's been okay and you know, kind of guided the team around. But yeah, I think Finer's breathing down his neck for sure. Tackle 6, we're getting the Reggie's wrap because we have the Reggie expert here, Jarrod Reedie. New South Wales Cup. How about this? Have you seen this score?
No.
Western Suburbs Magpies 68, Roosters 8.
Wow.
Worth mentioning as well that we were up 48 blot at halftime, and Heath Mason, or it might have actually been Javon, and he was hooked early. We missed 5 goals, so it could have been 78. We were actually keeping pace with the clock, which is just ridiculous. Heath Mason with a 32-point haul, probably the most we've had in decades in reserve.
Yeah, 20 years I read, yeah.
But like it just it was a training run, bro. And the thing is with the Chooks, like there's a bit of a vacuum there because a lot of the boys had to go and play first grade. Obviously, you saw a couple of debuts around Bassingthwaite and the like, which is obviously pretty cool for them. But obviously, it left them sort of bereft of quality, you'd probably say. And it was like a training run. Like realistically, I think both teams will admit that the ball was in play for only 40 minutes of an 80-minute match. A lot of the time was spent, behind the goal line and goal kicking. So. Just crazy. In terms of those standouts, Javon Andrews, who I think is probably our long-term 6. I think he replaces Luai. I think Latu's probably on the right side eventually and usurps Dewey. He was phenomenal. Solomon Saukuru, who I think, if given the opportunity in first grade, would be a bit of a cult hero. He was phenomenal as well. Heath Mason, you can't score 32 points without being being an absolute weapon. Fiahiva Siale Fainga'a. He's played a little bit of everywhere this year across the backline for the West Magpies. They plucked him out of A grade for the Camden Rams. He's had a really good season, did some good things the other week as well. Tristan Hope played a bit of 9, played a bit of 13, had a good return to reserve grade. And a couple of the other boys I really like. Mitch Tautua, I think, had a good game. Vakaraho had a great game as well, didn't miss a tackle through the middle. And it was good to see a few of our flag age boys come on and do some good things. Jared Haywood, who people will know has been anointed as Uppy's successor, did some really good things there out of acting half, set up a try, which is great. Pete Tarteo returned to the club after being at Newtown for the beginning of the year. He was excellent, sort of skittling defenders as he got on the field. And one of our favourites, Archie Duncan, was excellent as well, as was Phoenix Godney, who threw a gorgeous cutout pass at right edge back row to set up our last try. And I think he actually chipped and chased a fullback as well. So complete disrespect of the Roosters, Reggie's side. But a great win and keeps us in touch with the top 5, which is good because I think that's where they should be when the whips are cracking. Yep. But a bit of a job to do for those boys still. And obviously you've got to remember that they've had their side ravaged because ours has been, the first grade's been ravaged by injury.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Good to see them keeping pace, and hopefully they go on with it. And this is a bit of a, similar to what we spoke with around Jerome, this is a bit of a line in the sand, and they can string a few wins together.
For sure. You mentioned Javon Andrews. He is leading the New South Wales Cup in try assists with 13 and line break assists 15 after 15 rounds, which is incredible. And I think we nabbed him from the Titans, right? And
we did.
He was Queensland Under-19s player of the
Fascinating story around Javon. The Tigers had actually signed him when he was a kid. He was 14. He was an Australian touch footy player. The poor fella, he broke his spine and obviously had to do his rehab up north. And for whatever reason, the contract fell by the wayside. New South Wales and Queensland Under-19s play each other this time last year. Obviously, he kicks that goal on the hooter. He was in concrete talks with us at that point, and he was captain in the Titans 20 side up in Queensland in that NRLQ series they play, where they've got like 4 teams and they play each other 3 times and then they go to finals. It's like round robin set up at junior footy. And sure enough, they sort of laid out the red carpet, and he was a bit of a contingency for Jerome, and it was sort of like, let's not sit on our haunches. And And sure enough, it's proven to be a masterstroke with Jerome headed to Port Moresby in 18 months. So I can't speak highly of him enough. That touch footy background, like he's a big, tall specimen, but he's not like a powerful ball runner in the mould of a Whiten or a Dewey. He's something else entirely. He's fascinating. He's like a slower Matt Burton with more flair. Like he's got an ankle breaking right foot step. He can goal kick. He's got a massive boot on him, and just his ability just to manipulate defensive lines is just second to none. He's a phenomenal footballer, and I'm very thankful that in a lot of ways, as much as I love Jerome, that we'll get to see Javon play first grade long term at the Tigers.
Very exciting stuff. And then Jersey Flegg, we learned 26-18 against the Roosters, down to 4th after a red-hot start under Mr. Shane Sultana. Couple of questions for you.
Yeah, mate.
Tell me about Shane Sultana a little bit. Why is Jackets hard playing Flegg after starting the year in Cup? And I want to hear more about Glassy.
I know that Shane is an avid listener of our podcast. I'm not sure. Does he listen to you guys?
Everyone listens to us, mate.
Well, there you go. Shane, I don't know your bio too well. I know that you've been around a lot of junior systems, both, sort of around high school and lower grades. He's a brilliant coach. Shane Richardson brought him to the club midway through last year. We sacked our coach mid-season, Norda. And Shane came in after being the Balmain SG ball coach, and you just saw those guys go to another level. We didn't make the finals last year, but on form from the moment that Shane came in, we actually ran second on win-loss record. He just understands how to develop players. He just, we see these guys transition seamlessly from SG ball up to 21s, and he's got a really big hand in that. He places a lot of responsibility and onus on his spine. His interchanges are strong. And his selections, he always tends to pull the right rein. We'll be there when the whips are cracking. Obviously, that lesson on the weekend was a disappointing one to learn, given that a lot of Roosters players are playing 19s Origin this week. A lot of really good players: James Finnegan, Darcy Smith, Eddie Kalis, Carter Marekor, list goes on. But this might be one that sharpens the gaze a little bit for these boys. In regards to Adard, it's an interesting one, mate. If I had to speculate, and I don't actually have info on this per se, I would anticipate that the club probably thinks right now that Heath Mason, if Jareen Buller were to go down, is probably a little bit closer to first grade playing fullback.
Sure.
And it's probably just, we need to get our contingency sorted. And how's Heath going to, come back into the side seamlessly? Touch wood, he doesn't have to at starting at 1, and Jareem has a clear run. But it's probably more, we need him to get those reps at 1 as opposed to at centre. And given Jack's sort of slight of frame at the moment, he's probably suited to playing 1, irrespective of what grade it is. But it's worth mentioning that even in this loss the other day, and the loss against Penrith, like, he's a cut above. Like, his kick returns are just insane. He's lightning quick. His ball playing ability is excellent at that level. But at the same time, it's long game with Jack. He's not on a full-time contract yet, even though I know he's training week to week. He's only on development next year. They'll take the long road with him, and that's the right way to do things.
Yep, nice. And then Glassy, tell me about him.
Glassy squared.
Glass act.
Yeah, Glassy. So Glassy's a Campbelltown junior, and he's always been a bit boom or bust. I think Glassy would admit that himself. Like, just the ability to come up with a big play more often than not. Like, and you just go, wow, where did that come from? I think consistency has been something that he's worked on really hard, and he made his debut against Cronulla in the 21s in the curtain raiser before we played them in first grade and got belted. And he's been excellent ever since. He's played a bit of wing, played a bit of centre in this grade. He's just a big lumbering outside back. He's got speed, he's got strength. His defensive work is cleaned up immeasurably. I don't think it'll be too long until we see him in New South Wales Cup. He does have that slight of frame already physically, that he'd be ready for it. And again, just oozes skill and classy. So,
yeah, nice. Before we move on, Kody, have you got your eyes on any Tigers juniors or Pathways players? Or
Mate, the name that seems to keep coming up for me is Phoenix Gordon. He's the one that I'm the most fascinated by. His highlights, like, he really passes the rugby league eye test, as they say. Like,
the great man, the rugby league eye test.
I know. I'm also a big NBWT follower and have been. He's kind of the preeminent Pathways coverage for Tigers fans, right?
Absolutely.
He often compares him to Katoni Staggs, which is really exciting. Obviously a little bit slower and plays a lot of back row, but yeah, he's the one that I'm the most excited about probably at this stage.
Yeah, he's a a phenomenal talent. And I think it would burn him that he's not playing in Sky Blue on Thursday night.
And BWT basically writes this show, by the way, if you can't tell. Which is, thank you for that. That's it for the set of 6. We'll take a quick ad break. I don't know if you guys are familiar with our ad breaks, but those that have YouTube Premium don't see ads. So we just kind of sit here for about 3 seconds. The reason we do that is because so I can see when I edit and put the ad breaks in that there's a gap in audio. So it just makes my life a little bit easier. So let's go to an ad break, and then after that, we'll come back with a big top 05 and raw emotion and have a look at this week's game against the Dolphins very quickly. All that to come and more. All right. Well, how was it? What did you think?
That was excellent. I have YouTube Premium, so I don't. When I tune in, I just hear you blokes go quiet. What happened?
There's no tech difficulties, mate. It's just the way we do things here. Now, every time during this period, I have to look up Lockie Pringles. Now, have you heard the Top 05 jingle? It's one of the great tunes from the great Lockie Pring, who's in Europe at the moment.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. But this is the Top 05. Find out what it is from Jarrod Reedie. So much musical talent in that man.
Incredible.
He is incredible, isn't he?
That was impressive.
I know.
I like that.
So the Top 05, sometimes we do nostalgia, sometimes we look forward. Very excited to hear what's being covered today. Reedy, let us know.
I want to talk about the deep cuts of Pathways players. Probably the guys that not too many of Win, Learn or Draw's listeners have probably heard of. Obviously, we've mentioned Phoenix Godinay. I'm trying to look at a few diamonds in the rough that I think are first grade material. In the could be anything mould, a friend of the show, Rugby League Guru, similar sort of line of thinking here. A few guys around sort of SG ball and Jersey flag age that I think might be worth noting among West Tigers fans in the years to come. I've got 5. It was difficult to cut the list, but I think I've worked out which ones I think are best. And the best place to start is the boy who is starting in the front row for the New South Wales under-19s this week, and that's one Christian Torpau-Moores. He is as mad as a cut snake. He is. I think he is related to both Martin Torpau and Junior Moores.
I was going to ask that. Is he a perfect mix of both those players?
I think he is an amalgamation of the two, yes. He's high work rate for a big boy, exceptionally skillful, and is a guy that can put a team on his back. I remember Samuela Fainu captaining the New South Wales under-19s just before we signed him, and obviously he went to the hotel room to try and bash an opposition player, which I love. I don't know if Christian's going to do that this week. I'm sure they probably got the hotel on lock after what Samuela did that year. But I expect him to start taking 2 carries a set early in the game and just trying to kill anything in maroon.
He's starting yet?
Yeah, he is. And the thing is as well is that in 19s camp, and Matty can probably attest to this more than me, they brainwash you into hating Queensland. And it's, you just see red or maroon in that instance. So I'm expecting that from Christian. And with Royce, by the looks of things, heading for the exit at the end of the season, I think you'll see Christian debut probably mid to late next year. The next one is a friend of our shows. It's Logan Brooks, who was from far north Queensland originally. He's a Melbourne fan and idolises Billy Slater, and it's easy to see why. He's a genuine one, has an innate ability to beat a defender one-on-one. He's got wonderful ball-playing ability. He's right to left. He's gorgeous, and he just tears up opposition defences. I really, really hope that there's a future for him at the club, but obviously you have to be mindful of the fact that we have the Addards and Bullers of the world, but he's absolute first-grade material, and I can't wait to watch him wherever he goes and whatever he does. Hopefully it's in black, white and gold.
He played a bit of wing as well in Cup, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, did pretty well. Sort of stripped it back to basics a little bit, and obviously yardage carries and finishing and sort of being targeted under the high ball, and he rose to the occasion. I'd love to see him a little bit more in New South Wales Cup, but obviously there's a bit of a logjam there at the moment, and will continue to be, as we get players back from injury. The third guy I've got on this list is the Crown Prince of Crookwell, Archie Duncan. We love Archie over at WTF. He's a lump of a lad, but he's clutch for a front rower. He's played everywhere across his tenure as a West Tigers junior. Originally is a bit of a ball playing back rower, but has moved to the middle and is now a front rower. He's exceptionally skillful, but he is a guy that will put that away if he feels the need and will just pin it and run north south and just truck nut all day. When I say he's clutch, I mean it. Like I've seen him win games for his team off his own bat, and just his spirit and his courage, I think puts him in good stead. I think he'll be a bit of a late bloomer. I think he's 20 this year. I think he might still be a couple of years away, but first and foremost, a phenomenal bloke, but also a phenomenal talent. The debutant on Sunday was Jessesi Lenyon. His younger brother was brought to the club after Shannon recruited Jessesi. Somebody had tipped him up and said, I think you should have a look at this bloke as well, and it's his brother James. James is a winger, and he's one of these guys that can create something out of nothing. He sort of moved between Laurie Daly Cup, where we won the comp this year, and SG Ball for the Magpies. And irrespective of whatever grade, most of the time he beats the first player that tries to lay a hand on him. He can score some amazing tries. He's brilliant in the air, and he's just pure ingenuity. I really hope that we hold on to him because similar to his brother, he is an absolute first grader. The last one in my 05 is a little favourite of mine. It's a player by the name of Siatame Havea Jr. He's a lock forward mainly. He moonlighted as a 9 this year for the Magpies in SG Ball, but I think that was a bit of needs must. Just a leader. He's sort of doing some time at the moment at the Oaks Tigers in Group 6, starting at lock, but training through the week with our Jersey Flag side. He's on a development contract next year. He is our long-term 13. I know how much Benji loves him. I reckon. I actually don't think he's too far away. He is that sort of quintessential Cam Murray style 13 in terms of body shape and play style. But he's one that I've watched for many, many years, and I cannot wait to see him evolve his talents in the years to come.
Unreal. How good is that? Getting a little glimpse of the future. For the Mighty Tigers.
If none of them debut, then I'll be run out of town. So
we'll look back at this clip and be like, what was he talking about? None of these blokes have gone on to do anything.
Yeah.
Cody, you heard it. Any of those guys?
Yeah, mate, absolutely. I obviously follow Reedie and Mac's podcast pretty closely. I'm fascinated by the Tigers' pathways. I always have been. Reedie, Havea Jr., my understanding is that is he still pretty small?
Yeah, but at the same time, you watch him in that first trial, and he had to tackle blokes like Taylor Lazalu, who is huge, and he didn't have too much trouble. His technique is impeccable. He's actually he can strip the ball pretty well in a similar mould to a Josh Hodgson. Mate, he is on the small side, but the thing is, and blokes like Willie Mason, who was 6'6", will sort of say that those blokes will cut you to shreds because their shoulder is already at your hip. So it's not too much of a drama, and he has he possesses his ability to ball play puts a defender in two minds as it is. So he doesn't necessarily get dominated in tackles too much simply because of the talent he possesses. But he's already done a pre-season, one more, and I think he'll be in decent stead. If he's got another growth spurt in him, it certainly won't hurt him. But no, I think even at the size he's at, I don't think he's going to have any dramas. He's probably around the height of, say, a Kurt Donahue. So, and you've seen what he's done in the league, so I don't think it'll matter too much.
Yeah, nice. He's the name that sort of is coming up a little bit. He excites me. Question also as well about Christian Torpal-Moores. I didn't want to jump in and ruin your flow, but
thank you.
What sort of how many minutes does he play when he like as a middle? And can you give us like an NRL player comparison for CTM?
Oh, great question. All right, he's a bit of an anchor guy, but I wouldn't be surprised when he first makes his debut in grade that he's sort of the impact type. Sort of 10 either side of half time, just to get him some reps and some understanding around a tired ruck. Player comp. That's a good question. It's probably like you've got me here.
Incomparable.
Even like body frame, like what's he?
Josh King, I'd
Okay.
say. Similar to that, but and similar sort of effort areas, but possesses a little bit more flair and skill, I would argue. No disrespect to Josh. That's off the top of the dome. I'd have to have a think about that. You've got me there.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, nice. Got him. You're one of the great rugby league minds, Reedie, when it comes to West Tigers pathways. And Cody, sounds like you know a bit more than maybe you give him credit for.
I am extremely impressed.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't sit down and watch heaps of New South Wales Cup games or flag games or anything, but mate, it's always fascinated me. So, and I hadn't listened to any podcast really that covered it before I came across you guys. So, yeah, I tune in every week.
It's a rich pool of talent, right? And we've always been a little bit lackluster in keeping that talent, or known for that. So I think now that there's a bit more of a focus on it from a wider community, I guess maybe then that permeates through the club and
mate,
people
most
really...
importantly, Shannon Galan is Campbelltown born and bred, and he's very mindful of what we have over at Balmain as well, and does a lot of recruiting there as well. And to have a bloke that is West Tigers through and through, in the role that he's in, he's only going to serve us well. His judge of talent and his ability to recruit a player is very strong. I regard it very highly, and he's a bloke that they can relate to. So, hopefully as Shannon continues to remain at West Tigers HQ, that we do retain these guys, we see them come through and hopefully win a few rings.
He seems like he's doing a great job. Like, how long has he been at the club in that role? It's pretty fresh, right?
He's fresh ahead of recruitment. Before that, he was head of pathways. He's had a pretty, once he sort of got in ahead of pathways, his sort of ascension really picked up speed. I think he's been at the club for a very long time now. Even down in the pathways, being a blue shirt, I reckon at least 5 or 6 years. Shannon would know, obviously, but for as long as I've really been following it intently, sort of going to games and watching on Bar TV and the like, he's been around.
It seems like we're taking a bit more of like a measured approach in bringing players through now. You mentioned that with Leichhardt.
Yeah.
And Haywood as well. Like, they're just being a lot more patient with these sort of players, even compared to like Talon and Lockie from a couple of years ago. Does Shannon have anything to do with that?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I think he runs a lot of the reviews and, sort of speaks on where they're at and, from a physical perspective, and also obviously their development curves as players and where their skills are at. And I think as well, mate, we were dealt the most lessons around that time that, we sort of had Lachlan and Talon and those guys come through, and we squandered that generation. I think that it's fair to say now, particularly with the Laulite, he's going to Perth. The only one that is there besides Will Craig, who's off contract, is Heath Mason. That was a miss on our part, and it's disappointing. But nonetheless, obviously, these are lessons we learn, and I think part of that was we can't continue to blood kids at 18. Obviously that patient route, I think, is the right way to go, and it's what the good clubs, the beautiful people at the top echelon of the league, as far as player development is concerned, tend to do. So yeah, it's a step in the right direction for sure.
There you go. One of the great rugby league minds, or two of the great rugby league minds going at it in the pathway system. How do we back that up? You know what we do? We go to Raw Emotion and we hear from the students of the game, the people that are the voice of the club. We encourage them, obviously, to send in a voice note straight after the game if possible. Now, it is Raw Emotion. It is spelled ROAR. Do you need me to explain that to you, why it's spelled that way?
Yes, please.
No worries. Ready? Are you across why it's spelled ROAR?
I am familiar, but you may as well tell your listeners.
Okay, I'm going to tell. And Matty, I'll just do it for you as well. I know you got no clue. Okay. So ROAR, it's a roar. It's the sound a tiger makes. But the original kind of way that you would say Raw Emotion is RAW.
Oh, really?
So it's a bit of a play on words that we came up with here.
Very clever.
At the Win, Learn or Draw podcast.
I can't believe it's been 46 episodes and I haven't picked up on
46 episodes, mate. Well, hopefully in the next 50 you can. But
well, I don't think that we'll get a 47th because I think you're about to start writing headlines for the Telegraph.
My dream job. We're going to go to Ethan Gibbos first. Now, I met Ethan at the bar on Sunday at the Norton. Lovely bloke, and he had this to say straight off the back of the famous victory at Leichhardt Oval.
Reporting to you live from the hill. Might have been one of the greatest games I've ever gotten to witness. What a comeback! Holy fuck. Jarrod Luai has earned every fucking penny after that one. 1.8. You know what? He can go to
1.8.
Hey, wait, actually, maybe a finals. Yeah. And then I also think maybe recruiting Nestor Irakunda for the Tigers on like a train trial. Test him out on the high ball, see how he goes. That speed on the wing would be crucial. What a fucking win! Woo!
That
Boys-
is raw emotion.
The boys are fired up. 1.8 for Jerome. What do you reckon?
I think that might bend the cap slightly out of shape, even if we only have him for another 18 months. But that's just me.
We'll go to Rich and Mitch now. So we call them the Statler and Waldorf. Do you know who Statler and Waldorf are?
I actually don't.
They're the cranky old men that are Muppets that sit up in the balcony and just laugh at stuff.
Yeah,
So they're the greatest comedy duo since Statler and Waldorf. They do want to come on the show. We said if the Tigers score 50, we will let them come in to the show. The Tigers put 50 on anyone. But here's them live from the ground as well.
Boys, Hammy, Elliot, it's Mitch and Rich, the greatest Tigers duo since the legendary halfback combination of Luke Brooks and Josh Drinkwater. We led that hill like it was the last ever game there, which it was. But for 2 years. Skipper Romy, what a fucking player. Patrick Herbert, I'm going to name my firstborn daughter after him. And what a night. What a night to finish the 8 on that hill. We didn't have to learn. I threw a beer can at someone by accident. The greatest fan base in Australia. And in the world. And you know what, Thomas? And to top it off, Australia won the World Cup. So we're winning that cup.
They followed it up with this.
Oh, and I forgot, this is our raw emotion. Sound a tiger makes. ROAR. Go the fucking Chiefs!
There you go. Now, Darcy Byrne, Mayor of Leichhardt, also messaged us, wasn't a voice note, and said, fuck, we needed that.
Das.
Yeah.
The great man. We got 3 messages here from Pooper, one of the regulars on the segment. Sent 1 on Sunday and then 2 on Monday morning. Here's his Sunday one. So that was all we got on Sunday. I think a couple of West Tigers bitters under the belt for the great Pooper. Followed up Monday morning at 6:30 in the morning.
All right, boys. On the way to work, reflecting on the game. Everyone's probably going to talk about Jarrod Reedie and like how he stood up. He should be standing up week to week. He had a good game. He needs to do that more consistently. I think we need to talk about the Seybarge more. He had a fucking terrific game. It's probably the best he's played for the club. Normally he shits me up the fucking walls. But yeah, Seybarge had a fucking great game. I don't know if he played the whole game, but he played fucking close to it. Chuggas all around. Up the Seybarge. Let's Oge.
And then followed up with this.
I forgot to do a Go the Tigers and a little Tiger sound at the end of it because it is raw emotion and ROAR, and that's the noise of Tiger mate. So I think it would be a bit silly if I forgot to do that. Anyway, Go the Tigers.
That was more like a puma, I would say, than a tiger. So that's Pooper. Some good points there. Seybarge's best game in a Tigers jersey, surely.
Completely agree.
Yep. Jaden Gimblett came to us with a song. This is one of the greats.
G'day, boys. Hope it's been a good one. Fucking good win for the Tigers last night. Just wanted to sing a quick little ode to one of the best footy grounds in the competition. If you really want a victory for the Tigers, if you really want to take on the world, no matter what, forever Leichhardt's our ground. Oh. Woo. Good one, boys. Have a good one.
Dulcet tones.
I know, exactly. He actually has a pretty good voice, doesn't he? I'm not quite sure what the song was, but I don't mind it. Anthony Pecora here sent in a little nice note. Starts off really nicely as well, just really kind of gets you nice and warm.
You can imagine that's what it felt like, sinking a few too many Leichhardt tinnies last night. The West Tigers are perhaps the greatest rugby league outfit I've ever seen in my fucking life. Leichhardt Oval got us home last night, but it wasn't just fucking Leichhardt Oval. Because you know what? We didn't even get some of those 50-50 calls, except for, the hit drop. But, that's the Seybarge magic. What really got us home was a bit of resilience, losing KPP, but of course, Jarrod Reedie. The Tigers will make the fucking 8 this year. They're actually going to win the comp. And we'll be belting Penrith 68-0 in the grand final. Up the fucking Tigers. Fuck the Dolphins this week. And top 8. Fuck yeah.
I would argue that roar almost sounded more like the belch than what the belch did.
I wasn't sure if it was the second one. Or...
That's what I thought. I said, far out, 2 on the bounce.
He's obviously had a few Leichhardt lagers on the hill, I reckon.
Yeah.
You can
Great
fill that
drop,
out.
by the way.
Yeah.
Rated highly.
Yeah, it's very good. Now, last but not least, we didn't hear from the first in Rawdle this week. I don't know what's going on with the big fella. Hope all is well up in Newcastle and the paint is drying for you, Reese. But we did hear from the second in Rawdle. Now, he did say, he did send a message. He sent a voice note, but also a message. Don't forget to call out Kody for being pessimistic about the Tigers. He needs to stand up to his Foz-loving overlords and back the boys. Now, I'd say you've been pretty optimistic about the Tigers, Kody.
Yeah, like, mate, I fight a strong battle in there, dude. It's 4v1 most days of the week, and like our drop off almost perfectly coincided with Manly's rise to the top. So
it really hurt.
Yeah.
As you get stronger, I get weaker.
Man, it's tough.
It really ground my gears about how they took over the narrative of like everyone's second favourite team this year, and like the young coach that's really hot, and like they literally just replaced us when we lost all those players to being the hottest team in the comp.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know if they took over everyone's second favourite team, but they definitely took over our 4.
No, yeah, they're still hated. But I feel like they get spoken about like really like positively, and we just dropped off the perch.
Yeah. It's like Benji did it first, dude. I said that to Tom and Eddie, and they were like,
well, they would have loved that.
Yeah.
You get this one from me?
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So here he is, Backfence Brown, the second in Rawdle, reading from the Gospel of Benji Marshall.
Today, class, we will be reading from the Gospel of Marshall as he shoots down the vultures, aka journos, through teaching them the power of his truest disciple, the Seybarge. And to them he said, guys like Alex Seyfarth, who don't get a mention quite often, was outstanding for us. I gave him a really clear directive this week. I needed him to show the way with his leadership in terms of actions. The plan was to bring him off earlier, yet he was going too good and covering all the defensive mistakes, making the cover tackles. I thought he was phenomenal tonight of terms of leadership and footy. The Vultures then questioned the Messiah of Leichhardt, asking, but what does he mean to the side? In a calm yet powerful tone, he responded, I'll tell you what he brings. He, the Seybarge, gets a bad rep sometimes, but he brings a competitiveness and an edge to what we want to bring as a team and what we stand for in terms of effort areas, energy, and scramble. Any line break, he's back there. So, class, to truly embody the true king of the GFTA Petrochemicals engine room, we must show leadership through actions, not just words. Defend that which is true, the try line. Provide energy and scramble when those around us cannot. And finally, get back there for your friends. Fill the gaps. Stop the try. What's Tigers till I die? 2-0-4-0, lads. Bloody go. That's why he's the boat. The boat. Long live the 8th. Chugga, 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 chugga.
Now, the boat is the best of all time. That's what he calls the Seybarge. A little bit long there, back fence, but, you know, we'll accept it because you read from the Gospel of Marshall.
Well, I was going to say amen, but he went off base.
He kind of does that sometimes, the great man. There you go, raw emotion for this week. Thank you for all those that contributed. We obviously had a few more come in that we couldn't get to. The main thing is they're raw, aren't they? R-O-A-R. It's just people speaking from the heart. You just love to hear it. You love to hear it. Hey, we're going to go to another ad break. Get up, get yourself a cup of tea, if you can do that within the 3 seconds that we sit here. We'll come back and we'll very, very briefly look ahead at the Dolphins game this weekend, and then we'll wrap up the show. Well done, fellas. Geez, you're good in the ad break, Reedie.
Oh, thank you, mate.
You're
Obviously,
really good at sitting there in silence.
a bit of Chatham House rules, you know, a few stories that won't make the air.
Now, this weekend, rank outsiders at the moment. Izzy Katoa under an injury cloud, I believe.
He's looking sweet.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right to go.
That sucks. Where do we win it? Where do we learn? What's going on? What are you guys thinking? Kody, I'll go to you.
Mate, like, I don't know, where do you start with this? Like Appy, hopefully all things good, backing up from Origin, obviously a welcome inclusion. Still no Twal. And I think also, like, I know he's been out for a while, but and missing Kai Pearce-Paul now as well, but you cannot understate the loss that Samuel Finer is having on this side at the moment.
Absolutely.
Like going into every game, it's just... And I do, as I say, I do tend to take a bit of a bleak and pessimistic view on the Tigers at times. It's the scars of yesteryear, whatever. But this Dolphin side is absolutely rolling. This is going to be a very tough game out at Campbelltown on Saturday, Arvo, I believe. But, mate, the way we win these games is we just grind. We just got to grind these teams down, like especially with all our injuries. I think that's the only way we're any shot of coming up against this Dolphin side.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably not going to outflare them, are we?
No. It's probably one for the more rugby league centric as opposed to West Tigers centric podcast. But I want to know whether or not weather footy is dead. Like, there's just so much flair now when it's in the wet. Like, you look at what South did on Thursday night, and it didn't bother them, and they were extremely expansive. So, because I was going to open with, I'm probably going to be doing a few rain dances this week to sort of bring the defensive line in a little bit. And
balls are grippier, mate.
Yeah, that's it. Kick the corners and the like. But yeah, it's interesting. I would just say, obviously, you said get into a grind, Codes. I'm just like, you know what? Just front reload your energy into your attack, fight fire with fire. Because realistically, like as you mentioned, Kai's a massive loss, as is Sam. Obviously the cohesion and the loss of communication and understanding of the structures with both of those boys gone means that there might be points that we leak, which you can understand given, again, the personnel changes. For that reason, I'd just be backing our spine and our outside backs, namely Taylor May, just to find points wherever they can and front load their energy into their attack. But I'm not the coach, and we'll see what happens.
You very well could be, I reckon. Now, on this show, we do a bit of a kind of a prediction of what's to come in the week ahead. Maybe borrowed a little bit from our friends at Hello Sport, but we essentially stack up the numbers. Look at the probability of winning, look at our edges being a bit susceptible, the fact that we don't have probably 4 of our best players out there. Dolphins are absolutely red hot at the moment. Campbelltown, a graveyard for the West Tigers as well. I think we win about 28% of our games there. So all that stacked up, we need to make a prediction on what we think the margin is going to be this weekend and who is going to win. Now, I'll kick us off, and I really do need to take all of that in consideration when I come up with the thought here. But I am going to go ahead and be bold and say West Tigers 13 plus.
Oh, I love it.
So, Kody, any prediction for you and a margin?
Mate, I resonate with Reedies, take it to them just with the attack, and we could very well see a 40-32 game on Saturday. I similarly will be doing a bit of a rain dance. I think it'll be, I'm going for a 13-12 Jock Madden field goal.
Wow, huge.
Oh, I love it. 13-12 reminds me of 2010 when we played the Titans and Marshall kicked that 51-metre field.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
I was there
at halftime,
Yeah, sensational. I will go a high-scoring affair, but it would be remiss of me to tip a loss. I'll go Tigers 1-12 in a very high-scoring affair.
Right, okay. And Matty?
I've crunched the numbers.
Here we go. There's one rule we have if you're part of the win, learn or draw furniture.
Yeah.
Crunch the numbers.
Well, I've done some research, taken me all episode. But every single game's been 1-12 between Tigers and Dolphins, all 4 of them in history of the history of the comp. So that means that it's due for a 13 plus.
Yep.
And obviously I'm tipping the Tigers.
There
so Tigers 13 plus.
Thank you, Mr. Middleton.
That took him an hour and a half to come up with that. I appreciate you crunching the numbers there, Matty. Boys, thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank you, mate.
Obviously, big shoes to fill with Mr. Hammy Goodman. Really appreciate the insight you gave us into the pathways and all things West Tigers faithful, Reedie. Kody, always a pleasure to have you on and chat to you about the Tigers as well.
Thanks for having me.
Boys, I think there's only one thing left to say. We're going to win the comp.